Hey, we called it different style show today. We don't know what we're talking about, but it's not going to be the spreads for once because people haven't been listening to that. So we're just going to be talking about the year in general. And also, there is no good games this week besides two. And who cares about talking about that?
Is there
Anyways,
like 3 games that actually matter this
the
weekend?
Lions Vikings is interesting, and Chiefs Broncos, but everyone else talks about that all week. You don't want to come here.
What are
and
you
be like,
talking
"Here,
about?
good stuff."
You get the Cleveland draft order, man. We're all the way up to 3. We could get up to 1 this week.
Oh my gosh, I see Patriots fans freaking out. Bill Simmons obviously is a big one. He's just like, we're gonna blow it. We're gonna play Drake May so Gerard Mayo can attempt to save his job, and then he's gonna get fired anyway.
So, real quick, the 2 teams ahead of the Browns, the Patriots and Titans, are both playing teams in the playoffs locked into their spot that aren't playing their starters. So, not a good chance, but there's a chance that one or both of those teams actually accidentally win. And
Dude,
Browns could get the number 1 pick.
This is what.
So, see, this is the BS that people feed into the, like, these teams haven't won all year. Even their starters can't be backups. And you're like, oh, the other team's going to try.
The starters probably can't beat the good team's backups, but
Patriots,
there's a chance.
Though, the fact that we're sitting here talking about whoever, by the way, the offensive coordinator for the Patriots, who is he? Who is he? He's the former Browns offensive coordinator. He's god awful. Okay, seriously. The fact that we're sitting here talking about Gerard Mayo is going to come back next year is an absolute travesty. The guy who literally sat Drake May and was like, we don't want him to get hurt. He comes in, and by the way, his advanced metrics are fantastic, given he has no time to do anything.
Dude,
terrible offensive coordinator and no wide receivers. The guy is putting dimes on tape. And then now we got Gerard Mayo, who can't even decide who he's starting. And he tells us literally last week, says Antonio Gibson's starting. And because of Ramondre's fumbles. Literally 30 minutes before the game. Then who starts? Ramondre Stevenson. And then was asked about it after the game and was like, yeah, what was that? He's like, coach's decision. Dude, shut up. Like,
all right. Before we continue, because we're talking Patriots now, obviously the last thing that we should have talked about, Nick Wright had a take, and it pissed me off so much that I needed to share it. First of all, it went along the lines of Gerard Mayo's getting fired, and is Drake May actually that good? That is the premise.
Oh,
that's the input.
I did see this.
And
Nick Wright's terrible.
He goes, do you think the Titans maybe love Drake May? You could give up Drake May for the second pick, get the 2 Colorado players, Shador and Travis Hunter, and then say Deion come coach. That is the dumbest, worst take I have ever heard, because Drake May is the best quarterback in this class, period.
Can't be real.
And they're on the record saying they're not coming. And it's also like, hey, we're going to bet on the guys from the small school to come into the NFL 100% and turn everything around.
It can't be a real take. There's no way.
It's on TV.
No, okay.
It's clickbait. I guarantee it.
We could make a 30-minute video of Phil saying, I hate this Nick Wright take.
The funny thing is, I don't even watch their show. I watch the YouTube shorts that come up because I just know it's going to piss me off. Sometimes
I heard it come up. I heard it come up.
Definitively,
Definitively,
you think that Drake May is the best?
Well, if he was the quarterback in this class, he would be the best quarterback.
I'm sorry. I thought you meant of the class that he's in. I was like, whoa, man.
I'll give you a hint. Spoiler alert. If we draft our quarterbacks for the playoffs, I'm probably going to be taking Jaden Daniels way too high.
So speaking of which, just to tell you how strong last draft class was, all 6, including Bo Nix, would have been drafted above the first 2 quarterbacks in this draft class. It's everyone, all of the respected NFL scouts have said as much. Everyone is now saying, everyone kind of, to your point, has shifted towards this Sam Darnold, JJ McCarthy thing. We can get into that. I feel like we should talk about that because I've got some pretty hot takes on that. But they said far and away, J.J. McCarthy would be the first overall pick, and it's not even close in this draft class. And we were kind of a split room on J.J. last year. I mean, I'm still kind of I kind of like him a little bit more now, just based off of holy crap, he's in Kevin O'Connell's system and is getting to eat that up all year. But he would by far and away beat the crap out of Shedeur and Cam, and it wouldn't even be close this year. So,
only thing on that. What about like Michael Penix? The whole like he's like 30 years old. Like that's the only thing I got.
He's 24.
Him and Bo Nix.
Okay,
Dude,
he's 24. All right, Nix is 24. They'll be 25. The expectation was that dude was going to sit till he was 26, and then Kirk Cousins, future Browns quarterback, all of a sudden is just an absolute trash can dumpster fire.
And you can't come in here, say future Browns quarterback, but not say it for Sam Darnold. It's breaking my heart. Just all right, stop. We're not gonna do Sam, but for Michael Penix, there was a graph. I don't know if I'll be able to find it while we talk about this on Twitter, but it's like, hey, here is all quarterbacks and how bad they are, and Michael Penix is off the chart. He is like missing open receivers nonstop, is what it says.
He's got 2 starts, man. Dude, relax,
dude. And I'm just like, but then you see his touchdown at the end of the game was awesome.
Time out. Go look at. You love stats. Go look at the Commanders over the last 6 weeks, 7 weeks, and their defense. Okay, so they have a really, really highly rated second half of this season defense. So let's not sit here and say, "Oh, he played the Commanders. They suck."
No. He played 2 games, and let me just find the stupid picture if I can. I probably can't.
Well,
sorry.
They were on, what was it, Sunday night or Monday night or something like that?
Football with the Commanders.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, the commentators were the most annoying I've heard all year. Every single throw he had, we were like, "Wow, you look at that. He really has a kid." And you know what?
They were pissed off that they had to see Kirk Cousins for 14 games. That's why. No, I mean, all right. So he had an interception from Kyle Broken Pitts, who literally handed the ball to the other team against, I think it was the Vikings? Or no, it was somebody who was not very good. And that was his only bad throw, but he only threw the ball like 20 times. Why? Because they gave the ball to Bijan Robinson 35 times. It was crazy. This game, where they were losing, which they shouldn't have been losing, and they weren't losing the whole time, it was kind of close, they all of a sudden, they wanted him to, like, light it up. And they gave the ball less to Bijan, which is crazy to me. So we have 2 very different views. One where he was playing ahead. Was it Carolina? It was Carolina or Tampa?
Giants. They had 2 pick sixes.
And
he didn't play in that game.
Yeah, he didn't play that game. And so I've always been, like, curious about Penix. Because the dude can sling it. But, like, I don't know if he can read a defense yet. We don't know.
I know. I really liked him in college, and that second half against Washington was very promising. I mean,
yeah, that's what I mean. So yeah. Phil's over here wanting to put him in the dirt after 2 games and only like 40 career passes, like an idiot. But I don't know yet. I like his frame. I like his accuracy at times, and I like his live arm. And we've only seen 2 games. And by the way, 2 games that are literally going to determine the Falcons' season. He is trying to pick up the pieces here and try and get them into the playoffs.
So one of the things that I wanted to talk about today was just, number one, overpaying quarterbacks. So this is 3rd year in the row so got Deshaun Watson, then Russell Wilson, then Kirk Cousins.
Just Ken, shut up. I found my graphic after 20 minutes of scrolling.
Stop.
Look at this. Look at his miss rate. 1 in every 6 throws isn't close.
All right. Now overlay, Mr. Statistician, how many passes all those other guys have for the year, and then go look at it in a vacuum and say,
do you see missed yards is on the bottom. That's how many yards you could have hit. So that is your measure of volume. Aiden O'Connell.
Phil, let's do this. Hey, by the way, let's run a post route, deep out route, I
just wanted to show, because like you were talking about how accurate it is, and the one graphic I saw is like
in college, the only thing that we have a full season of, you dingus. He's got. By the way, I would say that, what was it? Completion percentage. I think we saw this stat, which is now unfortunately coming true for AR, which is like something. There's a number. It's like quarterbacks with less than like a 58% career passer completion rating. They're like in college are like 0 for like 50. So meaning 1 for 50, and the 1 was Josh Allen. who had like a college career completion percentage of like less than 60%, is like 1 in like 100. And everyone wants to assume that the next whatever 60% or less completion percentage, accuracy percentage in college is going to be Josh Allen. When in reality, they're all going to be Jamarcus Russell.
That's
And,
like
all right, Connor, this is exactly why Phil hates Michael Penix. So Mr. First Round bye in our fantasy playoff decided that in his first start to start Michael Penix against the Giants, foolproof, and he lost that game. So strictly because he started Michael Penix.
By the way, I don't know if you know this, Phil. Literally, Kyle Pitts was going into the end zone when he grabbed the ball and did a loop-de-loo and threw it to the other team. So that would have been 6 points for you. Okay, so let's relax there a little bit. And it actually was an 8-point swing because depending on how much your interceptions are, it was -2 instead of +6. So yeah, it's an 8-point swing.
Man, you could have used those.
I think I would have won with that.
Yep.
Anyways. Oh, man.
Well, that's your fault, Phil.
So, okay. Ken is over here talking about overpaying quarterbacks, and I interrupted very rudely.
So, now, look back at it. If the Falcons don't draft Michael Penix, they're just going into this offseason super pissed at Kirk Cousins, gonna cut him, and still don't have a quarterback. So, not saying if you like a quarterback, I'm all for get your guy. Even if you think it's Kirk Cousins and then change your mind not that long after.
People also are talking about how they're like, there's no way they signed him, did all the physicals, and said, yeah, we're good. We really just think of this Penix guy as the next greatest thing, but we still believe in Cousins. There's all these rumors floating around that were like, there's no way you take a quarterback that high if you truly, truly are like Cousins is the guy. This was a total hedge, 100%.
So all analytics people
blew out his Achilles. Do we have to have Ken explain how terrible of an injury that is again?
Well, what I'm saying is all analytics people, I've been dying for teams to do things like this, where it's like you just constantly draft first-round quarterbacks over and over and over again, right? And the flaw here is obviously you damage people's confidence. The logic is, like, even if you're wrong about a first-round quarterback, what do you think Anthony Richardson would be traded for in the offseason this year? Second? The high third-round pick? Maybe like a third and a fourth?
Probably. Yeah.
It's like, even when you're wrong, there's still something to get out of it. And it's like the more gambles you take on a quarterback,
this is totally like
Trey Lance. Are you talking about Trey Lance right now, Phil?
Yeah.
What was
Trey
his
Lance
value?
got traded for a 4th-round pick, and he was awful. Like he came off a torn ACL.
Cowboys are an exception. Cowboys got Jonathan Mingo for a 4th rounder, and he's played 6 snaps. Yeah. Let's stop. They're the exception, not the rule. Relax here. Hold on.
There's these rational owners who are like, hey.
Anything the Cowboys do the opposite. Do the literal opposite. So, all right, but
that's the thought, though. I like the idea that the Falcons did, where it's like, even if we believe in him, there's still risk in it, right? So let's just go grab another lottery ticket. And it paid off in this sense.
Pay off isn't the right word, but yeah, you cut losses easier. How about that?
Well, at least you have an answer going into an offseason, which is much better than not. That's the payoff, right?
Absolutely.
And
Connor's over here loving the guy, so I don't know why he's arguing with the payoff term.
Okay, first of all, I said the jury is still out. I'm not going to condemn him after 2 games of running the football and then playing the Commanders. Relax. But I would say that has to only apply for QBs, yes? Only applies for QBs.
Yes.
No other position group. Okay. I was going to say, because we lit up the Detroit Lions for having DeAndre Swift, letting him walk and picking Jahmyr Gibbs 2 years ago. We also
did that because they traded up ahead of 6 teams that weren't going to draft him.
I agree. All right, so there's a couple of different caveats there. However, the get your guy mentality that Ken is talking about, they did that and it worked. They also went and got Jack Campbell, who we hated too, because again, they took him in the second round, and they could have gotten him in the 4th round, but instead they took him in the 2nd round. So those are good hits. And it's like shooting a half-court three with 6 minutes left in the third, and you make it. And then you're like, all right, don't do it again. Then you do it again in the next possession, and you make it again, and you're like, that was stupid. Please stop doing that.
The funny thing is, they saved both of those picks by drafting Brian Branch in like the late second or third, who was a first-round talent.
He got in trouble or broke.
They were just upside down
or something. Yeah, had some reason he fell.
We also ripped them because they could have had Bijan, and they traded down to get Gibbs. And I gotta tell you, Bijan on the Lions team would be just
Didn't they go
dangerous.
down and then back up? They did a weird thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was
and that's what we didn't like. Yeah.
It was the whole how they got the players, not the players themselves, I guess.
Yeah. All right. That process was told.
Yes.
Back to wasting money on quarterbacks.
Yeah. No. The wasting money thing is you're just being purgatory forever.
I just think bad teams have to. They just have to spend money and guarantee. Well, I don't know about the guarantee, but you have to spend money on quarterbacks, or else you just don't get them.
Let's apply this. Neither of you have heard me talk about this, so let's apply it. You have 2 quarterbacks that may be good this year. Maybe. You had 6 last year, okay? That had a much higher chance of hitting. Right now, we think 4 of those at least are going to hit. 5 possibly, 6 we just don't know because he hasn't played yet. There are, 15, 16, 17 teams that need a quarterback out of that, what you're talking about, which is QB purgatory, which is mediocre. What do? Do you go out and try and trade for a Kyler Murray as a fresh start? Do you want to go out and trade for a J.J. McCarthy as the Jets because you're not going to be high enough on the draft board to get either of those 2? Or do you take a shot and say, okay, Deshaun will turn it around. I don't know if that's the guy. Or if you say the top 2 teams that 2 out of the top 3 teams that are picking are going to take Cam and Shitter, plain and simple. The rest, nobody's getting better in this draft at QB. It's just not going to happen. What do you do?
Of all the things you said, the answer is not trust Deshaun. That's for sure.
That's fair. All right. So then if you're, if you're mediocre right now, sorry, I don't know how they did this, but Dallas has the highest paid quarterback in the entire NFL. All right. So you have your pigeonholed there. So let's take them out. If you're Arizona, if you're the Steelers, if you're a team that is top half that is doing things despite your quarterback play, what are you doing? Jets can't get up fast enough yet. They have 4 wins. So they got to figure out what they're going to do. Like, what are you doing if you're the Jets?
So I am trading my team, thinking about finding a new fandom. So the Jets are like, I don't know what I would do to fix that team. I would do my best. Like,
getting rid of Aaron Rodgers and Devontae. Sorry, you just are.
Well, I might not do it this year. Like, it depends. Like, you're gonna sell low on him, right? You're gonna give him up this offseason.
He's gonna retire. Force him into retirement.
All right. Anyways, so let's not talk about the Jets because that is like a terrible, miserable situation.
Let's not talk about the Jets. Yeah.
All right, pick another one. Pittsburgh Steelers. Go.
No, let's go Cleveland.
All right, like, Cleveland.
That's what we love. So me personally, I have been on this a lot, at least in our family group chat. I was huge on Deshaun Watson coming into the year, saying he was the best chance to for the Browns to win a Super Bowl.
Ooh, bad take.
The terrible take, I admit it. I finding Deshaun in 2017 or whatever it was, Deshaun, that was our best option. Now, what? What's your timeout?
Ken, I think you remember.
I told him it was a terrible take like 3,000 times in every group chat.
Going with this, right? Was this the one where Deshaun was going to be better than Jalen Hurts? Was that the take from this guy?
Ooh,
no, that was 2 years ago.
I don't even want to get into the Deshaun
I just
takes.
want to know if that was the take that we should bring up. Because that was a doozy.
I had Deshaun's MVP odds ahead of Jalen Hurts.
Yes.
That was it. That was 2 years ago.
Oh, damn it. I thought it was this year.
No, I quit on that one. That was optimism as a Browns fan. This one was
Continue
this was like the best case for the Browns was to find good Deshaun. And then 4 games in, I said the best case for the Browns is to get lucky with Jameis and hope he doesn't throw so many interceptions it blows them away. So for the Browns now, it's like you got to find a discount option with high upside. which is like, again, Jameis Winston, where the high upside can win you any game, which he did twice this year. He won a couple huge games. He beat the
Steelers and Ravens.
and the Ravens.
Steelers.
The two biggest ones on the Browns schedule, yes.
Almost came back against the Bengals, too. Like, I know it's like a stretch, but we were down more than two scores in the fourth quarter. It ended within a touchdown. So I'm all for, like, just taking a crazy gamble on something crazy. Anthony Richardson, if he's not going to come available, but it's the idea that it's like some guy with crazy volatile outcomes is the only option to me. That's what I want the Browns to do because it's entertaining as hell.
So right, we're not going to take that because you want entertainment. GMs want to win games because they get to keep.
Do they want to win games or do they want money in their pocket? Jameis puts money in your pocket, Command. Come on, man. So, people want to see that.
The biggest thing I see on like sports talk radio in Cleveland right now and like just all different chats. I mean, it's people are convinced we're getting Kirk Cousins on a Russell Wilson deal. First off, people think that a quarterback wants to come here at some point and then also would take no money to play in Cleveland, but also think that Kirk Cousins doesn't absolutely suck. Now, being another year removed from that Achilles injury is going to be much better. He won't be less mobile, but
he'll be able to push off of his back.
He'll be yes. It should look much better, but if you think there's anything left in that tank and you're going to get any type of magic in Cleveland, you're nuts.
Yeah, no. So for the record, Kirk Cousins, like noodle arm, doesn't belong here to begin with, and he is to blame for all these quarterbacks moving teams and getting overpaid. I think it's terrible when teams move quarterbacks, but Connor, to your point, it's like I am not looking for the answer to my quarterback situation in this draft. I'm just getting players.
Nobody is, and that's why it's an interesting offseason because you have a cupboard that's pretty bare with what's going to be on the market. You could see a guy like Derek Carr come on the market, get paid again. You could see Kirk Cousins get paid on a Russell Wilson deal with a ton of incentives because exactly what you just said. The guy got $100 million guaranteed to play 13 games last year. Okay, 14 games. I don't think, same with Russell Wilson. Most of the bill of Russell Wilson is still being paid by the Denver Broncos.
Yep.
Okay, so I do think there's a chance that Cousins goes to Cleveland exclusively because the Browns aren't paying him jack. And I think there's a chance Russell Wilson could go to Cleveland. Because
do you think either of those people want to come to Cleveland? We don't have Nick Chubb.
I don't think it's a choice. I think do you want to retire or do you want to still play in the NFL?
You don't think that they can find a better landing spot than Cleveland? So I think that another team with a better outtake.
Tennessee.
Let's see.
Tennessee maybe. Jets,
I think Tennessee is a legitimately solid team. I'm not great.
They're in the top 3 right now, though. So right now they can take one of the QBs.
But we agree that that's a mistake.
First. New England's going to go first, and they're going to take a non-QB, or they're going to move down. Somebody's going to have to go up.
Better
to the
job.
top.
I would rather play for the New York Giants. I think they have a better coaching system.
The Giants were the one I was going to say.
They look real bad this year, though.
I know,
Dable looked really bad at times this year, though.
I think it's because he committed to the worst a quarterback situation on par with Tennessee, and we came in saying Tennessee's not going to do anything because of that.
Yeah,
I feel Dable still has like some respect around the league, but also you have Malik Neighbors, and I mean he looks crazy. I mean those actually look like real weapons.
That's what's crazy to me is those two both hit in the same draft for the GM who signed Daniel Jones to an extension and let Saquon walk. Now, everyone's beating up. What's the dude's name? It's not Gettleman. That was before this dude. Joe Schoen. Everyone is beating him up for letting Saquon walk. I beat him up a little bit because you're a moron because he's a Hall of Famer, but I'm not beating him up like everyone's like he's terrible. He hit on 2 pretty big ones this year. He had already paid Daniel Jones. So that was 2 years ago, which was a complete idiotic move. But he didn't compound it by taking another quarterback just to have a controversy on his hands. And if he missed on that one, woof. Okay? I don't hate that he didn't sign Saquon. I don't like it. But Saquon also would not have wanted to be there. They're not a good team.
But the thing that's just burying them is the fact that there was that the Netflix video thing.
Yeah,
and it was like there was some dude in the room that's like, "Hey guys, there's a chance that Saquon's just really effing good, and if he goes to Philly and runs all over us, we're gonna look stupid." And they're like, look at this idiot. Look what he's talking about.
Yeah, it's gonna be in my nightmares or whatever. Yeah, I got it. It's in your nightmares. But the thing is, like, man, this is what's crazy is because Dayball wanted Jaden Daniels. The cupboard at wide receiver is really bare. Jaden Daniels has had a really good season, but he got Cliff Kingsbury and he got weapons. So he would have had to keep Saquon and had to draft a QB with crap wide receivers. So there's a chance that quarterback would not have worked out very well, and he would have been like, oh boy, I got Daniel Jones and a crappy destroyed rookie. And he's gone anyways. He was in a lose-lose to begin.
Connor, what are you doing if you're the Browns?
If I'm the Browns, I'm trying to pry someone from somewhere.
All right,
I would
so
take
listen.
a shot. You say Sam?
Sam Darnold is my go-to. That is where I would spend my money.
I say McCarthy.
All right. So now, real quick, what are you willing to give up? Because I think there's a big problem where you overpay to get players, and you got that's been the problem everywhere. The only time it's worked, at least in my mind, is Peyton Manning to the Broncos and Kirk Cousins to the freaking Vikings. Don't know how that one panned out, but it's why these moves are happening.
Okay, all right. So then I ask. I'm not saying I'd do it. I'm saying it would be a great way if somehow, some way they want to move on from him. Because if you remember, if you can get some way that they pay a lot of that contract, remember, they signed him to the richest rookie deal in history.
It's guaranteed deal. There's an order. It has to be descending. He has to be paid less than everyone ahead of him.
Sure. I mean, I'm saying J.J. McCarthy has already got his contract set, though. You don't get to renegotiate that. It's in stone. You got to take on that contract. You just got to say, hey, Vikings, you pay for 50%. We'll take them off your books. We'll give you a second or third round pick.
Yeah,
I think.
Do you think someone else wouldn't give him a first rounder? Back to my point that stacking QBs is great.
I think somebody else desperate enough, back into the first.
Yeah.
You don't think Pittsburgh might toss their 25th pick? I would. You kidding me? Because he's already played in a run-first pro-style offense up in Michigan. All he's got to do is run play-action stuff that he's already been doing. And now, what the other side would say, oh, Pittsburgh needs another wide receiver. Guys, do you guys remember who the offensive coordinator is there? Arthur Smith, okay? So let's hold on that. But I would think that, yes, to your point, yeah, for somebody should give up something for JJ.
I think that a team like in the 20s would give up a first round pick for JJ.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean,
the Browns aren't going to beat the deal is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
I see.
I see what you're saying. Well, there's the punchline. Why did you wait so long? Jeez Louise.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the top 16 teams that really need a quarterback, right? Their answers are to go to the open market, try to get Kyler, get Sam, Trevor Lawrence is a sneaky one that I think should be available because he sucked. Anthony Richardson
he gets
sucked.
A pass. He gets a pass.
I know they're not going to go anywhere, but I'm just saying, like, I don't have an answer for them this offseason. Like, sorry, your quarterback situation sucks. Come up with a different plan on offense.
Not like the craziest thing, but I don't think it'll happen. But just stick with Jameis. Just stick with him.
That's what my take was, and I got yelled at for trying to sell tickets instead of win Super Bowls.
Well, I'm not gonna talk. I have more faith in him than AR by a lot.
Yeah, I would take Jameis over AR in a heartbeat, Phil. I can't believe that was your take.
If you're looking for other quarterbacks, right? Jameis is already on the team. And he's our third stringer because Stefanski hates him, I'm pretty sure, for throwing
Bailey Zappi is going to ball out, and you're going to have people in Cleveland being like, dude, this guy, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. That's our guy.
I love Bailey Zappi, but he is the world's best backup. They're not the world's best. Like a second string backup.
Third. He's the world's best third string. I'll
buy that. I'm in on that.
I was like shocked at how much I've turned on AR though, because I think it was because he was like a flag plant for me of just like be a run first quarterback and then throw when you need to, you know. As crazy as this sounds here, do the Lamar Jackson thing where you only have to throw 25 times a game. But the thing about Lamar is he hits 23 of those passes, not 10 of them. So I was hoping that you could do something with AR similar, but he hits more passes. All right, that passed.
And his run first thing is so scary. That man runs to break his arms. He literally is just dropping his shoulder into people. Like, come on. Have some.
I think there's a real chance. I think there's a real chance that they move on. I think Ballard's going to be, dude, they are in a real bad way right now. And Irsay, I think, is crazy. Think he says he's not, but I think he is he can't be, he's like Woody Johnson from the Jets. Don't embarrass me. And I think that they embarrassed him. And Ballard, I think, is on thin ice with Steichen.
I texted Phil during that Colts game last week where it's like, man, Anthony Richardson's their quarterback. They give up like 20 points and they win like 23-20. Ugly game. Flacco's back there. They give up 42 to the freaking Giants, who could barely score. They didn't score 30 all year.
Like I said, I think that was an embarrassing thing to happen. And I think that Irsay is going to be offended and embarrassed. And I think he's going to do something. I think you see AR. I don't know if they have patience for him because he's not in. He's not in, by the way. He's not in. He hasn't practiced yet this week. He's got back spasms. He's got some disc problems. That's another big problem. Dude can't play a full season. Not even close.
I think there's a lot wrong with him, and the injury part's just another.
You know what they're going to do?
I'm out on AR.
They're going to let New Orleans cut Derek Carr, and they're going to pick him up, just like Phillip Rivers. I'm telling you.
You know, I think Derek Carr could be a Cleveland. We talked too much about the Browns, but I think he could run Stefanski's system.
I'm done with like Jared Goff is the best of quarterbacks like that in my mind at this moment. And it's like, what does he have? The best offensive line. 2, he has an elite receiving option, a excellent burner, and then the best running game. Like, and Sam Laporta doesn't even get used. It's like, you need so much to go right when your solution is
the best offensive coordinator in the last decade. Yeah.
like you need so much to go right. And with how good quarterback play is getting, like, how is that team going to beat the Eagles, who also have, an equally dominant team, but with a more athletic, better quarterback? I'm not saying the Lions. I'm saying the Colts with Derek Carr, right? Or whoever else with Derek Carr. So I am not in on solving your problem with no legs cousin Carr getting kicked out of somewhere. Like I said, I just want to have fun next year and then solve the quarterback problem when there's better answers. When's Arch Manning going pro? When's Pat Mahomes' son turning 22?
Technically, Arch can go pro after next year. So he'd be in the 26th draft.
Absolutely. So you go get AR, you go 1-16, and you get Arch Manning.
Because then he turns down the Browns. I believe he's a true sophomore, but I think he technically, I don't know if he'd be a one and done. He gets to see OSU in the shoe to kick off the season next year.
He also should be playing already for his team. I don't care.
Yeah, I agree.
If you're in our family group chat, by the way, Quinn Ewers, that's actually the quarterback of the future.
Someone said Quinn Ewers second round, and I'm like, he's the second best quarterback on his team. He's like, yeah, we'll get Arch Manning the year after too.
He left the cold because he wanted to go back to Texas. So I doubt he wants to go play on the lake. Sorry.
I don't know. I'm with Myles Garrett on this one. I'm going into the front office and asking, what's your solution?
It's going to be an interesting offseason.
But it's also like they can't afford Sam Darnold anymore, right? We already have Deshaun's contract, and Sam Darnold's minimum 3 years, $120 million minimum.
Yeah, so you're going to look at the Baker contract and see what Baker got.
That's 120, right? That's about half of what the
all right,
top
so then
line
let's
gets.
Talk about that. Ken, all right, first off, let's address any other Ken's concerns because he had a list. Let's make sure we cover.
Ken was organized. We weren't.
We hit them all going through that, except for.
Wait. He said except for one.
I have one more.
Listen,
one awesome thing. Just to make a note of, not really much, but we have the best 3 quarterback race of just like should be MVP candidates. Sorry, Joe Burrow, your team sucks, but you're awesome. But Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson the best 3 quarterbacks, like statistical seasons all together at once. And the crazy part is Pat Mahomes, arguably, the GOAT after Tom Brady, isn't even in the conversation. Loved it. Great year for quarterbacks.
Yeah, there's been a lot of good quarterback play that wasn't expected either, right? Because Jared Goff was excellent. Baker was surprisingly good. Hate that.
Baker, Darnold, yeah. Stafford still got it
All right.
Stafford somehow still has it. I mean, again, we just talked about pairing with all-time coaches. I mean, McVay is going to be 45 and maybe gets another one, and he could retire as a top 5 coach of all time. I mean,
so all time, where are we at with Zach Taylor? Is he top 10? Maybe 15.
Zach Taylor's probably top like 2,500, I would say.
Zach Taylor is just he owes Joe Burrow a commission for saving
Zach
his butt.
Taylor also, he does coach in the National Football League, so here's technically.
You can make an argument that Burrow and Chase are 2 of the top 5 players in the NFL, any position.
Zach Taylor said that, and everyone's like, you do realize that you're just making the case for why you should be fired.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's the same thing about the OSU Michigan thing right now. Is, oh my goodness, look how great we are right now. Because everyone is asking, where was this against Michigan? Where? What happened?
They decided to run the ball and be more physical.
First up,
to have a pissing contest with Sharon Moore because he wanted to run up his face mask instead of doing smart things.
Like throwing to his, best receiver in college football.
The next Megatron Julio Jones, yeah, that was probably a better idea. But anyways, yeah.
All right, Phil.
Let's just get to it.
All right, no, my last... Connor, you have something?
What are you doing if you're the Vikings? Tell me right now. What are you doing?
That's a tough one.
J.J. McCarthy's my answer. I am not buying into Sam Darnold.
My answer is Sam
Darnold.
You
got burned on him. Don't be mad.
No. So
objectively,
this is Case Keenum 2.0. For the record, I love Darnold, and he absolutely has earned his Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield, technically Daniel Jones contract. Go get your 4 years, become $100 millionaire. Congratulations, right. Sam Darnold. But it is not the answer.
If he doesn't pull a Flacco and throw 2 pick sixes in the playoffs first round, I think that I mean, you look and he's fit well in that system. Yes, they have 2 very, very good receivers, arguably one of the best in the league. Hawkinson looks great. Aaron Jones looks rejuvenated. Like that, he has a good offense around him. He has Brian Flores, a good defense with him too. Great setup, but he's done well. You guys have mentioned 5 out of 6 first round QBs have hit. What's the average hit rate on QBs in the first round? What?
Not good.
15, 20%. There's no guarantee that J.J. McCarthy is like, what do you want? Oh, J.J. McCarthy might get them to 14-3. And I'm like, Sam Darnold just did that. So if Sam Darnold bounces back next year, turns into, New York Jets Sam Darnold, you go 7-10. He's in Minnesota. You've seen what the Jets do to quarterbacks. It's not the same. I get, but it's like Sam Darnold has had plenty of occasions where the Vikings have gotten plenty of 28-3 leads this year that they've won 31-28. Like this has not been. They keep winning. I agree. It's one of those ones that it's like, but you got a lot of escaping with wins when I don't trust it. But like what? I just am not super sold on J.J. McCarthy, and that's it too.
I'm not super sold on Sam Darnold.
Okay, but I think that I'd rather take someone who's proven that he can win in the system than J.J. McCarthy, who just hasn't. It's
all right. So this is where I've actually been on both sides of this in the last 24 hours, because up until maybe halfway through the season, up until 2 weeks ago, I have been JJ McCarthy all day, every day. Why? For like 3 reasons. Number one, overpaying. We just talked about overpaying quarterbacks. If you let him walk, you can take the sunk cost of the $40 million that you would have to guarantee to Sam and go basically guarantee, let's say, another offensive weapon of some sort. I don't know who. A third wide receiver, a running back, a whatever. Now you have made it so comfortable for him that he better, like, if he loses in that system, you know he should go work at Walmart. Because second reason, this bleeds into the second reason, which is Kevin O'Connell just showed you that he can do it with Kirk Cousins and now Sam Darnold. You have a body of work that just says whoever's in the seat just has to listen to Kevin O'Connell. Yes, there's another 50% of that is, will he actually listen to Kevin O'Connell? Can he actually do it? We won't know until that happens. But you have proven that 2 people can take that seat. Now, the downside is if you sign Sam, you don't have that cap flexibility. But if Sam goes on a run and gets you to the championship, what are they? They are what? NFC North?
Mm-hmm.
If they get to the NFC championship, now you got to say, all right, our team is ready to win now. We don't have to do a bunch of tweaks to the roster. We can just go win it next year. I'm starting to almost flip and then say, go get something for JJ McCarthy.
So
I'm halfway there.
How much are you paying Brock Purdy then? He was in the Super Bowl last year. Arguably, they had a good position to win it and got outcoached in the end.
I'm not in on Brock Purdy.
He took his team farther than your expectations that you just set.
I agree, but Sam looks better right now. I'm just telling you, Sam looks better right now.
It is a what have you done for me lately league, Phil.
There's no right answer here, and Quessie's gonna have a problem. I don't know what to do. I think it's the only way that this goes really south, is if JJ is bad. And the chances of him being bad are pretty slim right now because he has a perfect QB ecosystem. He got the Alex Smith to Patrick Mahomes year. He's got that to sit and watch.
Yeah, and no, he didn't because his leg didn't work.
Pat didn't come off the bench either, Phil.
But the whole point is he was in practice. He was in practice. McCarthy wasn't.
How much do you guys actually do 11 on 11 good versus good after camp in the same year? They don't do that. They run 7 on 7. It's not real football.
It's not real football.
I don't know. I was previously
all right. So Vikings. So if Vikings beat Lions this week and then they have to win one playoff game and you're in, because that's where they are. If they win one playoff game, they're in the conference championship.
All right.
Wait.
I'm
if they lose
a little bit, because if Sam throws a bunch of picks and Brian Flores
that's
wins,
fine. That's fine. He has to play. Yeah. He has to play.
He has to look good in the playoffs.
Yeah,
and that
fine.
Yeah.
All right. So 2 more wins, and you're good.
Yeah.
You're willing to give him 4 years, $160 million.
I gotta see how much cap space they have, but yeah.
Okay. All right, that's fair. But you're out on Brock Purdy. 4 years, $160 million for Brock Purdy. That is not top of the line contract. That is a middle of the road.
I give Brock a 3-year, $120 deal. And
okay,
I make it a 2-year deal. I give it a 2-year deal with an opt out after the second.
And when he goes Kirk Cousins and says, "Someone else give me 4 years, fully guaranteed."
Secretly, side note, Kyle Shanahan could go back and get Sam. Kyle liked Sam.
I know they wanted to play him last year. Or watch this. They're going to go get Sam and Trey Lance again. It's a joke. But no, I'm with you. I could see them pulling out the rug and trying to get Sam.
I think landing spots for Sam, I would give it 40% chance to go back to the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
I give it another 20% chance to end up with the Titans if they win another game. If they fall out, I think the Titans could come calling for him. I don't think he goes back to the Jets. I think there's a chance he could go to Vegas. I think there's a chance, so probably another 20%, and then there's another 20% of other that I just don't know. But
it's fine.
I think the Titans are secretly somewhere that they might want to move down and pick up something literally, I don't know, another wide receiver, Ted McMillan, and go get a quarterback in like Sam.
All right. Ken, anything on this whole argument?
I do like the idea of like the whole like Darnold versus McCarthy like thing, but I think that realistically, those percentages are right, Connor. It's 40% Darnold, but it's 60% JJ. Pretty much whatever. I mean, he'd have to win a Super Bowl to like really get it over 50%. I think realistically.
I mean, Foles won a Super Bowl. Always remember that.
Yeah, but that's different.
And then they chose Carson Wentz.
Oh, they chose. Yeah, he was also an MVP candidate, by the way, when he got hurt.
Off a bum leg, man. That guy was mobile. Didn't have a leg anymore.
That's what did him in.
Hey guys, MVP candidate Carson Wentz is going to save the Bengals season. Just remember that.
To Phil's point though, the Foles went and flamed out wherever he went next. Totally flamed out. Where is there a precedent that was set where they brought someone like this back and they did well? Okay, the original, Matt Castle. Matt Castle flamed the F out wherever he went afterwards. It was terrible. Nobody even knows where he went afterwards, but he did go. He did take him to wherever.
KC. He went to KC. I know
after Tom blew out his knee, whatever, 2008, 2009. He did great. He got himself a contract. Nobody was sitting there going, "Oh well, maybe we should replace Tom."
Outside of KC, right. I don't know anybody who thought that was going to work.
Let's do this next step then. Teams that have been successful with bad quarterbacks that have paid them: Giants, Daniel Jones; Seahawks, Geno Smith; Bucks, Baker Mayfield. And am I missing?
Your definition of success is getting pretty light here.
They won playoffs with guys.
Won a singular playoff game.
But they gave Sam Darnold like the same. But then their teams have not lived up to the expectations that were set by that year, right? They were all double-digit win teams, and ever since then, they're middle of the road.
Every one of those teams had one singular good year. You're talking like Browns with Flacco, like one good year. The Vikings have been good for more than they have not. Like,
but I understand, but my point is you're relying on this quarterback at this elevated level to win 15. 13 games, 12 games, whatever you want it to be. But when you pay that guy, your team goes down or, goes back to middle of the road where it belongs.
They got lucky, which, by the way, I told you was a dark horse, halfway through the season. Mm-hmm. Liam Cohen is a dark horse candidate, same way Canales was. Liam Cohen I don't think Liam Cohen is there next year. And I think that's a massive, I get it. Sam, you could say, or not Sam, you could say Baker has figured it out with Liam. Or you could just say, the luckiness of having another offensive coordinator like Cohen or like Canales, the chance of that happening again is not good. Think about it. Geno got Ryan Grubb this year, first time NFL offensive coordinator. He was a genius at Washington. He has been hit or miss. He's been either really great or really terrible. I don't care that Geno has thrown for 4,500 yards. Nobody does because they've been losing for the 50% of the games. They got to throw to get back into the games. It's a skewed stat. Help me out, Phil, Mr. Statistician.
No, I'm with you. Geno's the most impressive when they are down 2 touchdowns, and his touchdown. He gets 150 yards and a touchdown to get back, get into field goal range, or not get the touchdown. Right.
He leads the league in end zone INTs, and it's like a lot. It was like 6 or something like that. It was like just a lot. I don't know if you take those away, they have a much different season. You can't take those away though.
If you take away the losses, the Browns are undefeated.
To Phil's point, this now becomes a numbers game where it's how much risk are you willing to take? If you can put a number to it, how much risk are you willing to take? How many times are you going to strike gold with another offensive coordinator with Baker before he falls on his face? Or is Baker, or the chances Baker is actually really good, is he actually that good? And he can just agnostic of whatever offense he's in. He is now a semi-elite quarterback, a top 10 quarterback. I don't know the answer. Find that answer with Sam, apply that to Sam, and say, I don't know. Is Sam good enough? Does he have enough body of work? I mean, I think the answer is obviously gray. And I think how much is Kevin O'Connell and how much is whatever.
And
I think
looming over all this giant cloud of we're successful in the NFC is when you get done with your NFC playoff run, you're looking at Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and you're like, hey, is Sam Darnold the guy that's going to take them down?
Good news is you only got to play one of them.
One.
Exactly.
I agree with Ken on that. Because then you can say, all right, 9 times out of 10 we lose. We only got to get 1 out of 10, and it's all got to strike. So
I take away from all this talk is thank goodness none of us are GMs, because I'm over here gambling to try to get people's butts in the seats to see if it's fun football. You guys are like every week Connor is trading for JJ McCarthy and then trading back for him.
Speaking of that, one more take. I think if you're going to get JJ McCarthy, you got to cut your offensive coordinator and you got to take Josh McCown with you. Because Josh McCown almost had the Houston Texans job with no experience of doing anything except for half calling like a season for the Panthers as their offensive coordinator. But he somehow, and rumors are that Josh McCown is the secret sauce to the Batman to Robin for Kevin O'Connell.
Interesting.
As the quarterback's coach for the Vikings. I think if you go get him with JJ and put him as the offensive coordinator, he can at least be that same voice that he's been hearing for a year. Your chances go up.
Do you mean Darnold if you take Darnold, or is it like either one?
Either one. Gotcha. I would say either one. But I would say specifically for JJ because Kevin O'Connell is going to stick with Sam if that's the way that they go.
Gotcha.
Hey, I got to tell you, Josh McCown was all over Stroud over Bryce Young. You remember that?
Yes.
So that's a guy. I'm in on that guy.
Dude, Josh McCown was the first quarterback in like 8 years to throw 300 yards for the Browns. I'm all in on him. Do you remember that? He's like 36 years old. We lost all our quarterbacks. Like, McCown, can you come play off the couch 300 yards? We're like, why didn't we get this guy sooner?
He was like Sam Darnold's backup, wasn't he, at one point?
Colt McCoy. He was Sam Darnold's backup, too.
Yeah.
Are you guys done, or do you guys want to draft QBs for the playoffs?
I think we have to, because
that's all we talked about this whole time.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna do 4 rounds. It is any QB you want. Doesn't have to be playoff eligible right now. So if someone wanted Jameis Winston, you could take Jameis Winston. All right.
No, dude, do the playoff ones. Come on.
No, because
you just want Burrow in there.
Yeah.
We'll count Burrow /Nick /Tua.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, it's whoever.
Ain't nobody picking whoever else, Tua or fucking. They go to
Watson.
Yeah, nobody's picking them.
All right, so now it is 12 quarterbacks. That's how many we're gonna take. We need an order. So I'm gonna, I guess, randomly draw numbers. I know this is really exciting. And it will be what's it called? Serpentine. So snake draft, that thing, yeah.
All right. Connor, Ken, Phil. There you go.
Connor, Phil, Ken was the order I got.
Sounds good.
All right, Connor, go ahead. Take the guy.
For the playoffs, right? We're drafting playoff quarterbacks.
This is your quarterback throughout the playoffs. Anyone you want as of today.
Oh, Pat.
So
okay.
This is like and you're starting a new team, or all teams equal?
Yeah, all teams. So it's like, you're doing the fantasy draft in Madden, and Connor made the right choice of you just take Pat Mahomes.
Okay. I think the only thing we're counting is wins, right? We're not going for stats because the reality would be
no. This is like, I want my team to win the Super Bowl. That's the goal.
Pat, go.
All right, yeah, mine's easy. Joe Burrow. So that, I feel like Lamar, Allen, not wrong picks here, but also Joe Burrow is absolutely freaking killing it, and he's the only guy I've seen beat Pat Mahomes in the playoffs in the NFL today.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. I got to go Josh Allen over Lamar here.
You can take both.
What?
You can take both.
Look at that.
You get both, you moron.
Well, hey, we're in the first round. I'm not in the second round yet. Okay.
Okay.
So
Lamar Jackson's getting a slightly lower contract. Not fully guaranteed the same way.
So I'm going to take the MVP, Josh Allen, and then my next pick, I'm going to take the should-be MVP, Lamar Jackson.
All right, so hold the phone. Do you really believe in that order for MVP award winners? Because
MVP pisses me off because the whole narrative. It's just a narrative award. I think that if Lamar didn't win it last year, there'd be a little bit, more to it. But I mean that Lamar's just doing amazing. Josh Allen's had a lot more like firework plays and like firework games, but like Lamar consistently throughout the whole year, I think he deserves it actually.
Connor, your thoughts on who deserves it more?
I'm biased because I've had Lamar take me to the championship this year in fantasy. So, no, I think it's incredible. I think it's Lamar, in my opinion, exclusively because he has turned the ball over less than Josh Allen. And they're like, I think it was EPA per play. I don't know. Mm-hmm. It's like an all-time number here because he is making so many elite plays and not giving the other team the ball. It's like alarming rate. And that's why I would take Lamar. Josh still will do stupid things and throw up what the Buffalo Bills would call their Twitterverse where that was like, thank God Josh Allen threw an arm punt here. Okay, so he threw a pick. Like, don't twist it, whatever. Lamar has not had those. They showed like all 4 of Lamar's picks this year. 3 of them were tipped from his own receivers into the other hands. He's got 1 real pick on the year. I think that's insanity.
So my only thing on Allen for MVP is he beat the Lions and the Chiefs. If those are the 2 1 seeds at like 15-2, I'm just like, all right, like,
yeah, that's fair.
That's fair. That's a pretty good, talking point.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a point.
I don't know. I just think that Ravens' offense is just a bit more complete. Like the receiving options have been just better than the Bills have, and the Ravens' defense is actually playing good. If the defense played good all year, I mean, the Ravens would have just as good a record as the Bills. So
yeah, that's another one that's like the Commanders. That second half of the year, they have been lights out.
Yeah, but also Ravens were like historically bad defense at the beginning of the year.
So after Connor's next pick, I want to ask you guys something because this is hard for me.
You have to complete the second round, Phil.
No, I know that's what I was getting at because I didn't want to do this, but I'm going to. I got Jaden Daniels.
I knew you were going to do that.
Well, so there's one other guy I'm interested in. I'm guessing you're going to take him, but it's like his 2 fourth quarter comebacks have been awesome, and he's had a bunch of great plays late. So I think he's been way better than sold. And you said he has good weapons earlier, Connor. I'm like, he's got T-Mac. He's got Zach Ertz's corpse, who's been playing really well.
Zach Ertz, by the way,
he's been looking real good, man.
Zach Ertz, by the way, can get like $250,000 with 8 receptions this week, and he can get another $250 if he gets 2 touchdowns. Yeah,
dude, I hope they feed him. I hope he gets his money.
Yeah,
but no, like Olamide Zaccheaus was like the 5th stringer on the Falcons, and he comes in, and now he's like a actual contributor. They picked up KJ Osborne because they don't have good options. So
Jameson Crowder caught 2 touchdowns.
Dude, they said, hey, what fantasy players were good in 2021? Go get them.
Hey, who do we want that we don't want to throw him to in the championship? Is it Terry McLaurin we want to throw to him? No, we want to throw it to Olamide Zaccheaus. That's who we want to throw it to.
Right.
AJ Terrell was playing a really good game.
Yeah,
I was against Terry McLaurin, and I was the biggest AJ Terrell fan.
Travel. Go with him.
All right, Connor, it's up to you. Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, L-Jax, Daniels off the board.
You just made my point for me. You just talked about the Detroit Lions and all of their great things. Give me the golf man.
All right.
He's not on Detroit, though.
Yeah, he is.
No, in this whole draft
gotcha.
Just random guys.
Oh, okay. Got it. I thought you were like, Jared Goff doesn't play for the Lions. I'm like, nope. Yes, he does play for the Lions.
All right, this got brought up in our family group chat, and I meant to mention it before we got started with this. Do you guys have a bias towards if your quarterback is athletic and mobile versus a pocket passer?
Stop.
Because apparently athletic mobile quarterbacks can't win Super Bowls.
Oh,
that was the take.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
I wish I was. I was
Who in
so
your family
furious.
says
No, don't worry about that
Dude, just
part.
listen.
Is this Anthony?
No,
Is this
this is
Anthony?
Anthony's brother.
Anthony's brother.
All
Dude,
right.
I straight up, I'm just like, you do realize, like, Allen almost took him down, with the perfect game. Lamar, if he doesn't have Zay Flowers, might have beaten him. And then, what was it? I'm like, and also Patrick Mahomes is a mobile quarterback. He's like, no. Mahomes runs differently. That doesn't count. I'm like, if I'm grouping quarterbacks, Mahomes, Allen, and Lamar are more similar than Burrow.
Yeah, what? And Goff,
Yes.
who can't run a sub 540. Yeah.
Anyways,
all right. My last pick. Give me the man.
You got two more. You'll have a round 4. We'll
give me the. Oh, we do have an old.
We'll do one more. That way it's even on the in terms of the snake.
McVay and the old man, Matthew Stafford.
Dude,
he doesn't get McVay for this.
He can.
Okay. But he's a product of McVay. Okay,
I'm cool with Connor drafting both the quarterback and the coach in this situation. It's all subjective.
You're living vicariously through Matthew Stafford. Okay.
All right, I can't believe Connor fudged this up so much because I thought this was like this guy should have been ahead of Daniels in my opinion. Justin Herbert.
I knew you were gonna say Herbert.
Dude, what do you mean?
That's fine. You guys are talking about them as players, but we're talking about wins, are we not? We're talking about literally wins and losses, yes?
And he doesn't have Brandon Staley anymore.
That's fine. He has Greg Roman, who wants to run the ball a lot.
Dude, no, okay, if they had any other running back, man, that team could be so. Imagine if the Chargers had Saquon. I think they're 14-2 right now.
So, okay, so here's my point. Here's my other point. You want him throwing to Josh Palmer? Ladd McConkey's great. Don't get me wrong. But you just told me, I don't get to talk about McVay and I don't get to talk about the Detroit offensive line. So we want to sit here and we want to say, Jim Harbaugh, Justin Herbert, Greg Roman throwing to Josh Palmer, Ladd McConkey, and the corpse of Will Dissly. You're telling me you want to take that over Matt Stafford and Puka Nacua? That's who you want to take it over?
It's all right. Let Connor play by his rules.
Okay, all right. Because
it's agnostic of your team.
But exactly what Connor's saying, Herbert was going to be my next pick after Lamar. For all those exact reasons. You don't get the same team. You don't get the team. You just get the quarterback.
For what?
If you had to draft a team, it's a fantasy draft.
Oh, I screwed this up.
You took off way too high, man.
I totally screwed this up, man. Guys, I screwed this up. I thought this was literally in a vacuum, picking wins for this postseason.
Oh my gosh. And why would we pick the quarterback and not the team? We're doing that next week when the playoffs are set.
I don't know. I
it's like if you could start a dynasty or a team.
You should have said dynasty.
It's not dynasty.
It's not your dynasty fantasy football.
It's this year. Yeah, it's redraft. Yeah.
So be honest.
They're gonna live forever.
So you have Goff and Stafford. Those guys aren't draft.
That's all right. You'll be fine. You got Mahomes. You'll be fine. You got the favorite.
All right. So this.
How do you pick Mahomes then? This year.
We're talking about this upcoming year. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. So I'm telling you, going into the playoffs, how did you can pick the quarterback, whoever you want for your team. Any team
to win the games. I pick the guys that are going to win the games.
Imagine every offensive team is the Lions without Goff. And then who are you putting in there? That's how I see it.
Yeah.
Don't worry, your guys will do great, Connor.
I would have definitely liked Herbert there.
Dude, yeah. I for sure.
I had Herbert super high.
The funny thing is, after Herbert taking Goff, I'm fine with it. I think that's a fair pick.
Yeah. I think so.
All right, so we get a mulligan, right?
Yeah.
You know what, Connor? Do you want Herbert instead of Goff or Stafford? We can do that.
I would like Herbert instead of Goff or Stafford.
All right, wait. All right, so we're dropping Stafford for you.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, cool. You get one mistake, I guess. All right, so that makes my next pick freaking harder.
Yeah, this was my cutoff here.
All right. I hate him, but I'm going with Jalen Hurts. I think
I
Jalen
knew it.
Hurts.
I thought somebody was going to.
I think
I
Jalen
was waiting
Hurts.
for somebody to go Jalen.
He is the best. He's one of the best quarterbacks with in the second half of the second quarter and in the fourth quarter. When it comes to clutch plays, that guy can ball. When it comes to like just
The rest of the
needy
game.
like first quarter, it's not great.
So, how do I gotta pick 2 now?
Yeah.
Because that was like my last like cutoff. Because let's face it, Stroud doesn't look good out there, especially with the Tank Dell injury. You know.
There's
No.
there's one guy I think he's pretty good. Probably deserves about 4 years, $160 million.
No. Well, because my next 2. In either order, I no longer care about rounds for this.
Mhm.
Darnold and Baker.
Oh.
Because
I'll take Baker. Yeah, I'll take Baker first, but yeah, I get the point.
it's I don't know, man. I really like Darnold's weapons. I think JJ and Addison really
Listen,
help him.
man. Listen, if you're picking the Vikings, that's a great pick.
You got those guys in the third round. They're going to be the 1 seed.
No, I would probably put Baker first, but I'm at the end of a snake draft. I'm fine with it.
Oh god! All right, this really separates the men from the boys here. Oh man.
Well, if we're doing this last year, Jordan Love and CJ Stroud don't look nearly as bad.
I would like those are the next 2 on my list. I'm just doing a quick check through to see if I'm wrong. Should I go with
You forget about Russ.
Oh,
Don't worry,
for the record,
Russ.
I forgot to bring up something we were talking about. Herbert. My best take from the coming into the year: the Chargers will go over their win total, but they will also have a terrible offense for fantasy. Which, like, for the first half of the year, they scored under 20 points and won like 6 or 7 games.
And I said, Phil, how is that even possible? And completely slapped me in the
they got
face.
Harbaugh. All right. So, yeah, I think CJ Stroud is the better option here. All right. The only game he hasn't played well that was high stakes, right? He blew out Georgia. He beat up the Browns. It was that one Ravens game. For whatever the reason, the Ravens just completely annihilate him.
Last week.
They did it 2 weeks ago, too.
Yeah, so I don't know how the matchups are in the playoffs, so that one might look terrible in like a week or 2 whenever they play, if they play the Ravens in the first round. But I think Stroud's still the right pick.
I don't think they will. They're both division winners.
I mean,
Steelers
fine.
are ahead,
I'm fine
right?
with Love.
Oh no, okay, never mind. You're right.
I'm fine with Jordan Love. I mean, I don't really like him that much, but
like,
you know, he looked so much better last year. I don't know what it is. Like this year, it's just not
they
been
got
great.
dollars in their pocket, Ken. United gave them their right fees.
I just really like all the weapons on their team, like their receivers, a bunch of like above average guys. Josh Jacobs has looked good.
Speaking of good fantasy takes that we had, I know that's where you were going, is the fact that we also said at the beginning of the year, the wide receivers for Green Bay Packers, just avoid them in fantasy all year.
Yep.
Reed
had a nice little spike and then was useless. Christian Watson had a spike and then was useless.
Watson spiked. Dobbs spiked. I mean, the only one that didn't spike was Dontavian Wicks. That's the only one. Tucker Kraft spiked. Okay?
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. I have no idea what to do with them in the future. None.
I'm going to keep betting against Josh Jacobs. I'm wrong every year, but eventually.
Same with Derrick Henry. Everyone bets against him, too.
Jaden, I think Aaron Jones being better than Josh Jacobs, I think we were right about that. I don't care if Josh Jacobs had a solid year fantasy-wise and stuff. I think Aaron Jones has actually been really good for the Vikings.
I think that was more of a your take, but I agree. Yeah.
Well, when you're over here talking about how you don't want Josh Jacobs, I think we all agreed, like, 4th or 5th round for him.
Yeah.
No one was really high on him. And I feel like we were higher on Aaron
Jones
in general.
This whole year for fantasy has been an anomaly. I get the whole running back resurgence thing. You know, it's a bet that you don't want to make every year. Like, if you made it this year, the running backs are going to resurge. Congratulations, you won that bet. I'm betting the opposite next year. So,
yeah, the whole hey, just take Tyreek and CD and you'll be fine. First round, yeah, that was fun.
not bring that up.
Wide receivers looking good in the first round. That's been rough. Oh man.
Oh, so Maria's my wife won her fantasy league. I may have helped a little bit, but she's like, oh, this is the trophy that they gave us. There's like a 5-foot trophy that she has in her office right now. It's ridiculous.
Was there a cash prize too, or did they spend it all on the trophy?
I mean, probably would have been more if they didn't buy the damn trophy, but geez.
All right, so just to recap what we got. Connor has Mahomes, Goff, Herbert, and Love. I have Burrow, Daniels, Hurts, and Stroud. Ken has Allen, Lamar, Darnold, and Baker. I like mine the best.
How do we figure out if we
I'm
won?
super biased, though.
How do we figure out if we won?
I'm going to try to do a Facebook or Twitter poll and see if enough people like it.
Oh, okay.
I got to tell you, I really liked mine till the last two. Very top heavy.
Why didn't you take Stroud or Love over Darnold and Baker? I would rather
because
have...
Stroud and Love have looked awful this year. Like they're actually
is Love still
below
hurt?
Office.
Because
he's been hurt all year.
They play it like I don't know if it's Matt LaFleur. He always pissed me off as like the quote coach, but like he plays like his quarterback only can throw the ball 30 times a game, and there's a limit. And he
like those two have actually been bad for their team. Like their teams are doing good despite.
That's fair. And Darnold and Baker are like
QB
competing
purgatory. They're about to be in QB purgatory.
I don't think Stroud will. Love.
I think Stroud will be fine.
Yeah,
but he's got shell shock this year a little bit. Got to grow up a little bit.
I'm not going
to lie. We talk too much about Darnold to not draft him.
That's fair. If I had to pick one more, I honestly think it'd be Dak. I don't know if he's healthy.
Okay,
I think it's one of those injuries that he's on the IR because of just because they're done. I feel like he could have come back and played, but looking at the other quarterbacks, 13 seems kind of appropriate, right?
No, I don't think so. He legitimately tore his hamstring
off the bone.
Oh,
yeah.
I was thinking about someone else. The CD Lamb injury, was that one kind of fake?
The CD was one where they just shut him down.
Yeah, CD shut him down. Yeah.
I knew the Cowboys did that because they suck and I hate them.
His shoulder looks like this.
Oh,
yeah.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
sticking out.
Do you guys have any other honorable mentions? Tua, I'm looking through the list right now.
I don't want Tua. Are you kidding me?
Connor, you would be the next to pick. Who would you take?
Well, I thought we were just doing.
No, I know. I just curious.
Playoff guys.
You guys are gonna think I'm crazy, but Bo Nix.
Bo Nix. No Brock Purdy.
You've really changed. So you think Bo Nix is a top 12 quarterback, 13 quarterback, right now?
That when you say it like that, he's moving up to the middle half. I think middle top. I think he's a top 15 quarterback. I'm serious. I can't think of.
I'm trying to think right now. Unfortunately, Phil's Dak one doesn't sound
Steelers,
too bad.
No. Anybody on the Giants? No.
Caleb
Anybody
Williams?
on the Jets? No.
Definitely
Anybody
not Caleb Williams.
New England? I think he's better than May right now, just because.
May would be my next pick of rookie quarterbacks, but I can't argue with Bo Nix. I have bias towards May. I love May.
I was kind of just hoping Kyler would do something this year.
I'm not taking Geno, so there's 6 or 7 right there. I'm not taking.
I don't hate Derek Carr. Derek Carr and Tua are kind of in that's purgatory. That is pure QB purgatory for me.
Tommy DeVito, that's the guy.
Oh, by the way, yeah, that's the thing I wanted to mention. The first 2 weeks that the Saints didn't punt, score, and they were statistics the best.
Oh, they have to win the Super Bowl now, right?
Yeah,
that was a fun.
But I mean, to go from that to oh, hey, you guys haven't scored a touchdown in 3 games or whatever it was.
And Spencer Rattler's your QB. Good luck,
Spencer Rattler.
Oh my gosh!
All right, time to go.
We're all done. All right. In the words of my daughter. See you guys.
All right, later.